In 3, 2, 1.
Well, here's the news from the DBC with Hugh Pugh Barney McGrew. Before we start, I've been asked to read this out. Nothing in this broadcast bears any resemblance to any thoughts or beliefs of the Dye Works owners, and they would like to distance themselves from the production in every way. Charming. Well, it's been an oddly quiet week or so where nothing's really happened. Oh, I know, the messiah and saviour of the British youth, JC, Mr Corbyn, has been told by his own party that he's a racist. Obviously he denies it, but he would. Just think, kids, if you had had your way, we could have had the most racist leader in the world since 1939, allegedly. Students were barricaded in Manchester due to being spread as a plague. And then they smashed the fences and broke out. The female student leader of the Communist Party, allegedly, then stood and shouted about how students were being blamed for COVID spread, and it was so unfair and outrageous that people could say such a thing, whilst 500 of her friends stood there in a huddle with no masks on, listening to her rant. While our hard-done youth let us all know how badly we are treating them, allegedly, maybe it's apt with it being Remembrance Sunday this weekend to remind them that they would have all been away at war having bombs dropped on them if they were unlucky enough to live in another time. Or they could be living in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, or even worse, America. I say, lock them up. Which brings us nicely to the man of orange in the USA who's stamping his feet and complaining that it's the greatest lie ever in the history of lies that Mr. Biden has now won the election. He forgets, didn't he write the book on lying? Allegedly. Meanwhile, all of Europe is very quiet on the shenanigans in America, hopefully concentrating on sorting Brexit. Don't hold your breath though, as probably the finest achievement of the PM in the last 6 months is managing not to get anyone else pregnant while his good lady stays at home and looks after the nipper, allegedly. And finally, back to the house sitter at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who stole a phrase this week from Chef AJ. Not allegedly. Stop the count, they wailed. That's Trump and Chef AJ together as the numbers of orders racked up for the prepped menu. We had anticipated high order numbers and so just took the politician's approach and fudged the figures until it was too late for Chef AJ to argue and do anything about it. So, as 9:30 approaches, it's time for the next Dye Works Preps menu launch. The menu's changed several times this week due to the fact that suppliers seem to be incapable of supplying at the minute. It really is starting to cause a little problem. I won't shame them this week. But as our lovely customer, Mrs. Graham, said she would be quite happy to have fish finger butties if they were from the Dye Works. Mrs. Graham, I'm with you in lots of ways. So here we go. £20 for starter and main. Collection 13th and 14th of November. To start, two favourites. Which side of the divide are you on? King scallop and prawn gratin, mushroom duxelle and white wine sauce, or pork and pheasant terrine, monegasque and remoulade to go with it. Mains, a stunning dish of baked salmon in crispy pastry with ginger and currant butter, veg, creme fraiche and herbed potatoes. One of the tastiest bits of fish I've ever had in my life. £2 supplement. Or home confit duck leg, homegrown cabbage, red wine jus and parmentier potatoes. Puddy's vanilla bean panna cotta with fruit compote. Or cheese board for two, which seems to be getting quite a following now and seems to be really picking up. Don't forget the extras with a standout dish of veal ossobuco, bellissima, or a full fish and shellfish gratin, which also has been popular. Lines are now open. Get dialing 602891. We will sell out, so don't waste your time. Keep your eyes on the usual news channels. Remember, stay tuned, stay safe.
Cut!
What do you mean I'm just a grumpy old man and jealous of young people? I am young. Look at what I'm wearing. Why do you think that young bird's always hanging around with me? For God's sake. Is it time for sherry now?